Mhm. Wait, recording. Okay, now we're recording. There. Now see, Mr. Wittes, Barb helped me out. She told me to get the recording going.
Awesome.
We got it.
We're all set.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to wait a few minutes, just see what else happens here. I was going to try and live stream it, and they showed me how easy it was going to be to live stream it, but I actually don't see that option here. I don't seem to have that option. So, and they
I believe you have to be logged into the website.
Yeah, I am.
Are you? Oh,
How are you?
Oh, wait,
Right.
sharing options. No. So anyways, you know what? Even though I like to wing it and, you know, the world isn't going to end if my live stream doesn't work out, they did say to practice it before you actually do it. And, of course, I didn't. So, you know, what are you going to do? So we'll wait just a few more minutes and for a few
Sounds
more
good.
people to join. We could probably end the hair conversation now.
Probably. Yeah.
Straightens his hair or uses a curling iron of any sort.
No, I doubt it. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Mike's good. He's just not paying
He's good.
attention.
He was on mute.
Hey, Mike, sorry. Here I am.
Yeah. It's all
No,
good.
I wake up this beautiful.
You know what? It's a gift. Really, you have to. Cultivating that attitude of gratitude is super important in today's work environment. You just have to be like, what are my gifts? What are my assets? That's actually something I went through not too long ago, was like sort of this inventory of gifts, assets, resources, right? So it was kind of family directed. And it was really interesting to sit down, do a deep dive into, like, if you had nothing, what could you actually use that you have to go forth and to survive in the world? Like, what do you have? It was very interesting. It was a really different, like a very bare bones approach to asset, I don't know, inventory, I guess. So what sparked my thought, Mike, was that you were like, you know, I just wake up this beautiful. And I was like, oh, Mike has an asset. Asset number one, beauty.
Or fake it till you make it or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, beauty and the confidence to spout off about it. But I happen to know that Mike's other asset that keeps his ego in check is his wife named Sarah, who right now, if she heard that comment, would be rolling her eyes like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, since she is not too far, she's probably within earshot. She's probably sending me a text right now.
Yeah.
You're not really that beautiful. Is that what it is?
Easy, cowboy.
Mike and I both have spouses who they adore us, but they keep our egos in check. That is for sure.
You know what? I will join your club because I have a formidable ego and a very humble husband. So he does what he considers is not even his best. He does what he considers to be his duty to just keep me on like a slightly less inflated, like he thinks I'm a balloon, right? And I can't be atmospheric. I have to be like, you know, at the 7-foot height.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he's a good man. Look at my phone.
So I'm just going to set up one last thing, and a few hellos. I saw Nadine, conference room Nadine come in, and I saw Sarah come in. By the way, Nadine, I helped Nadine get through this conference this year as much as Nadine normally helps me. And so Nadine is normally keeping me on track of places that I need to go, but this time it was me, right, Nadine? Did you lose anything before the conference there, conference room?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you until just a second. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I was going on about how I kept you as on track this year as you kept me. Did you find your phone?
Yes, it has been located. I spoke with them about 20 minutes ago, and they are FedExing it to me. I will have it tomorrow.
Okay, fun.
Rad.
But I had to borrow it. I had to hijack someone else's phone to phone because every time I wanted to phone them, I didn't have a phone. And when my husband was around, they were closed.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so it's on its way. Hooray.
Okay, and I saw Sarah Simpson come in, and hey, Sarah. Hey. And so I think what we're going to do is start and see who shows up later. So the ding dong, actually, let me see if I can stop the ding dong.
Yeah, I think you can.
I think I can. I think I can stop the ding dong.
Yep.
But it's probably going to require me to go into some sort of sharing thing. So you know what? We're just gonna have ding donging going on. How about that?
It's all right.
Yeah. What the heck? And there is the lovely Diane Mueller. So, anyways, hi to you all. Good to see you. And so I'd like to start off, obviously, by thanking Barb for taking the time to come.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We're super excited.
Did we get that over with? We're like the
Okay.
polite
All right.
chipmunks. No,
Yeah.
thank you. No, you go
All right.
first.
Sorry, you know what? I didn't mean to get you off your game. I just this is a real pleasure for me. So.
Okay, Barb, as you know, there's no game with Kellie, and I don't even have my back on track bell out here in my the she shed. So anyways, so this is about how Barb and I, and it's a really organic conversation. It's going to be about how Barb and I do our goal setting, and we haven't talked about this. I wanted this to be a totally freewheeling conversation.
Yeah.
So Barb and I have not discussed this at all. No. So we don't know how each other does it.
No.
But I'm going to share, no. But I'm going to share my screen for 2 seconds because I also don't have a deck for all of this. I didn't get anything really sort of prepared. I really just wanted to have, like I said, an organic freewheeling conversation. The one thing I do know about both Barb and I is that we do not do SMART goals. So no. So I want to start by saying that SMART goals are this. They are specific, they are measurable, they're agreed upon, realistic, and time-based. And in general, if you are using the SMART goal system, then you are also following a really specific pattern to them. So what happens is you have these books that you fill out, and you're going to have your
one code
goals, and somebody's got the mic.
Fair enough.
Somebody should mute their mic. It's got a specific pattern that you set them up for a 3-month, 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever the case may be. And then you have all of these steps that you have to go through. And then you got all of these stages, and it's a really, it allows for about this much flexibility if you are truly following a SMART goal system. And so I'm going to leave anybody to Google that. It's all over the place, what the SMART goal system looks like. What I will say is that for me, the SMART goal system was a stopping point. So even the whole thought of using the SMART goal system meant I didn't get started. I thought I had to do this, and then I was going to do that, and then I had to join a discussion group to talk about my goals and to organize my goals, to do all of these things that basically I just didn't get started. It wasn't going to happen. And we're going to get to Barb's story in a second. So I'm going to stop sharing because we've all seen what the SMART goals are, and come back to sort of the gallery view. So that was the problem with getting started with goal starting for me. So I have always had goals of some sort kind of running through my mind and been achieving certain steps and stages, but I never wrote them down. I'm not a journaler. I didn't believe in journaling. I didn't want to do any of that. And then I had a new neighbor move in about 5 years ago, and she was a SMART goaler. And she nagged me and harped because we walk at least one morning a week, and she would nag and harp at me on doing some goal setting and writing them down. And she wanted me to join her goal group. Ugh. So I didn't want to join her goal group, but I decided I would just write down a few goals just for fun, just to get started on it. And what I found was, as soon as I started it, I continued on kind of liking it. So then I got myself a really cool journal from Chapters, of course, Indigo Now. And then I started to put together my own little goal system. And now I am I am loving my goal system. I couldn't imagine not writing in my goal book every day. And so I write in my goal book in the mornings, and then I revisit my day the next day in my goal book. And I have moved on to a calendar system. And my girlfriend has stopped goal booking entirely or setting goals. And I am not allowed to speak to her about goal setting on our morning walks. So that's kind of my start of the story of goal setting. And then we'll come back to more about it in a minute. But Barb, tell me your story about goal setting.
So Kellie and I connected in an email not too long ago in which we were both starved to have a conversation about goal setting, right? You've heard her backstory about how her neighbor will no longer speak with her about goals, nor will your family, right?
No, I'm not allowed to talk to really anybody in my life outside of my accounting world about goal setting or really anything. I'm not allowed to talk at all anymore.
No, that's it. Just go to your she shed and
shut up.
Shut up.
Yep. Okay, go ahead, Barb.
So I am more of so I've tried a few different avenues for goal setting, SMART among them. I won't say that there's not elements of that methodology that I've used. I think sometimes one of the things that I'll touch on later is that sometimes you just have to do it. So sometimes like the SMART is like the fast startup, and you can sort of get going really quick because it's all broken down there for you if you use somebody else's SMART system. So it's not that I hate it. It's just it's very. I found the same thing that you did, Kellie. It's very limiting.
Right.
And I feel like I need like several lifetimes appended onto the end, one after the other, so that I can stay in my little SMART lane and do my SMART goals one at a time, right? Because it does take a lot of work to sort of support that SMART methodology. Yeah. I'm not against it. If it works for you, I'm just like, how do I do like 6 of these at a time? Yeah. Like I'm a little bit of a squirrel like that. I'm like, I got personal goals and life goals and, professional goals and all these other goals. And I feel like if I had 6 lanes of SMART, I might not have any time to do all the other things that are integral to me being me, which is, being a mom, being a wife, trying to, build our startup into something that's like a worldwide brand. Like nobody has SMART goaled the 24-hour clock yet. So that's, right. Therein lies my chief problem with it. So I guess while I'm ferociously committed to my goals and I do write them down, I'm still looking for that system that's going to allow me to, and I'm wondering these days if maybe it's a person, if it's like an accountability partner, but then I can't find anybody who doesn't want to skive off on their goals. Like get into the ring with me here. Like I don't know if I don't know the right people maybe.
I don't know. I would say and I'm sorry, I want to super preface again for anybody who came in late. This is being recorded and is going to be posted on social media. Yeah. So if this gallery view isn't going to work for you being posted on social media, then fair warning. Okay, carry on, Barb. Sorry. But actually what I would want to say is I think in the accounting world, we're going to find some people who want to goal with us. But go on, Barb. I want to hear more.
Okay. I don't know that I have any more to my backstory, only that what I've discovered so far is it's imperative to write them down. I know for me, it's also imperative to talk at least big picture. Now, there's a lot of research that says you shouldn't talk about like your micro goals, your breakdown, because it kind of steals rocket fuel, okay, from getting to where you've got to be. But in terms of talking about those audacious goals that you might have, I found that it's good for me to put my money where my mouth is and start announcing my plans to all and sundry. And the more that it's interesting because my mom will forgive me anything. Random strangers will forgive me anything. I've got a sweet spot of professional and personal relationships that will kind of keep me accountable. Right. And I need more of that. So I find that accountability for me, because I've got a considerable ego. Like I don't want to be told that I'm a quitter or any other sort of narrative like that. I don't want to tell myself, and I certainly don't want you to tell me that. So I'm after that. And And then there's some meta things that really, like some big picture items for me that can really sway whether like conditions are right for me to achieve my goals. And I'm finding that that's almost as important as the goal setting.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what happened with, so I don't do a lot of I'm in the sunset phase of my career or working career, right, Diane?
oh!
Right? The sunsetters! Woohoo! We got like all you builders out there, Mike Wittes with world domination and Barb with dry run domination. And anyways, you got, and Jessica, I know you're in the growth phase. Nadine, I know you're in the kind of middle phase. Anyways, there I've called, and Sarah, you're growing. Anyways, there I'm done calling y'all out on what you're doing. I know what most of you are up to. I'm in the sunset phase, so I have more lower end goals now. I'm not building a business. I'm not trying to raise useful human beings.
That's hard. That's hard.
Oh, man, I'd like a do-over on that one. Anyways, whoever thought it would be a good idea for Kellie to raise her kids on her own was like, I don't know. Anyways, that's another topic altogether. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Hey, which includes my dog eating my chair. Knock it off. So my goals are less lofty right now, but I feel the need to achieve them all. So right now, I'd really like to keep my cabin that I bought standing. So that's basically one of my personal goals, is to keep the cottage standing. I'm renovating a 100-year-old cabin that I bought a year ago. And so every day, I'm going to show you how my goal book works. Do we want to do that for a minute? Yeah.
Yes.
So
everybody, yes. Yes, you do.
My goals aren't always
I'm gonna take it.
Yes, okay. So my goals aren't always goals. This is where I fall off, but it works for me. So number one, in the goal world of Kellie, she's a fruitcake. Hey, and my dog is totally eating my chair. I believe that if you write them down, you are calling up the universe on them, or you are making your brain think about it. So if you're not a flake like me and you don't believe that you're calling up the universe and you're bringing the energy forth, you can just simply go with you're focusing your thoughts, even unconsciously, subconsciously, towards moving towards the things that you want to get done.
I kind of thought that was like generally accepted knowledge, like whatever you call it, whether you're, I don't know, whether you're writing them down or journaling about it or affirming it or praying about it, or I kind of thought that was the same thing. Like you're focusing your intention toward a specific end point, like toward a specific outcome. I just thought that was generally accepted.
Remembering them.
Or yes, exactly. Well,
is that what you said, Diane? I'm going to turn my microphone. So remembering them. Yeah, well, there is.
I thought that was generally accepted information. I thought that was just true.
Yeah, but it depends on how you're looking at it. Yeah. Like some people totally believe they're calling up the energy of the universe.
Sure.
That's me some days, but a lot of days I believe I'm just, remembering it, Diane, and calling up the energy of Kellie. And maybe, so they're not, to me, they're not really quite one and the same. Now, did you read The Secret, Barb?
I read about half of The Secret about 10 years ago.
Yeah, and then did you say, oh, I got The Secret. I know what The Secret is.
I think I found The Secret, and I went, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's having a goal.
Yep.
Yeah. So if anybody hasn't read The Secret, a couple of my girlfriends swear by it. They read it once a year. It works for them. One of them got it for me. I read it. There was nothing in it that was like earth-shattering for me, but it didn't hurt to read it.
I had the same vibe.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yep. Yeah, definitely better than a kick in the pants.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
Better than reading Harry Potter. No, I'm just kidding. So, no, I love Harry Potter, but I'm not reading it again, right?
I have a 9-year-old. We read it over and over and over and over and over. He thinks he is Harry Potter.
Where I was going with it. I had a kid obsessed with it. So anyways, I had to go off track with Harry Potter too. Who knew that an accounting, goal-setting little chat would turn into Harry Potter? But hey, it's Kellie. So here's what I do. So then I got myself some kind of cool journals from chapters. So that was fun. And then I got more useless things from chapters and spent too much money. And then I started working on it, and I started writing down goals that were really tasks and goals that were really, they were everything but goals in a lot of ways. And in some ways, my goals still are tasks, but none of them are dreams because I'm working on them. They are things that are going to get done. Yeah,
Yep.
big difference. See that right there? That would be the dog that was eating the chair. So now she's gone to, probably start barking at my contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so what I morphed into, and this is on my website, there's a quickie rundown on how I got to the goal setting. Can you see? Oh, I see. You got your dog going there too, Diane. Like a dog fest. So then I wound up with a calendar because I wanted to track some other things in it, and I wanted to know what day I was in, and I didn't want to write the day at the top. So then I started the search for good-looking daily calendars. Not an easy feat, but anyways, eventually I found some, and I morphed into that. So I'm not going to show you my actual goals because my goals feel very personal to me, but this is what I would do. So pretend that this is a daily calendar. It's like a day-by-day calendar. So this would be Tuesday and this would be Wednesday, if that would be the correct spread. And then in the mornings, I would write down my goals, and I have 4 of them. The last one being, and so some of them are personal and some of them are professional goals. And then on the side, I write down the things that are going to get me there. And all of this is very loose. None of these are perfect smart goaling at all. But so on the one side, then I would, so in here, let's just write one down. In here, I have renovations. So actually, I'm going to do it again so you can read it. So I would have some of my professional goals, and then one of them is building my consulting business. So I'm going to do consulting. I use one word. I use keywords so that I'm not spending forever in the morning in my goal book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have renos. So that's what my goals would look like. There would be a few of them there. And then on the one side, I write down personal sort of things that I'm aiming for, if that makes any sense. So I've got, so right now I had my braces taken off and I promptly gained a pile of weight. So these are not really goals. Can you guys read them?
No. Hold it closer. Okay.
Okay, so what I've got in the middle is consulting and renovations. Those would be 2 goals, and those are my keywords. And then on the side, I have a personal thing I'm trying to achieve, or maybe it's a way that I'm going to get somewhere, and it's listen. All it says is listen, because I'm trying so hard to be a better listener. And then it's 125 pounds, because I gained some weight, so I have a target weight. What I didn't do is write down how I'm going to get there. I know those are kind of goals too, but they're side goals. And then on the other side, because consulting is one of the things, and I didn't say this is right or wrong, I'm just saying this is how Kelly does it.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I have how I'm going to do the professional things. So one of them is that I am building out systems right now for the accounting professionals who need help getting their act together. So I'm building out systems, and then I'm building out content, and then I am building out my resale of templates. So those are sort of there. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So far this doesn't look like goal setting at all, because I've got some goals, I've got some tasks, I've got them all mixed up in between, and but it's working for me. And then down at the bottom, I have a daily mantra that I write. And I'm going to write that down, and then I'm going to show you. And I have terrible handwriting. Daily. Sorry. Take me 2 seconds here. You would think if I write it down every day, I would know what it is, but I got it all mixed up. And I write down that at the bottom. And this is where we get back into maybe what the tasks are. So you can't read it, but down at the bottom of my really nice day timer, it says daily vigilance and rigorous honesty. That is a phrase that means a lot to me. That's my personal mantra. And so I write that down at the bottom to remind myself to think about that every day. That's so key to me. And then I'm basically done. If I have some big events coming up during the day, I might write them down in this middle space just to keep my head wrapped around them of what's going on, but mostly not. And then the next day I would start it all over again in here. So I write those down every morning. And then after I'm done writing those down, I go back to the previous day and I write down big wins, big misses, thoughts, and it doesn't take me long. It's not truly journaling because I'm never going to do it. So I got to set a realistic expectation for what I'm going to get done. So in the middle, I would have, so I'll write down today so far. I ran the lanes with my dogs and it was beautiful and snowy and gorgeous. So what's the big win there? It was snowy and beautiful run with my dogs. And then I would say that the chat with Barb was great, but that I probably talked too much. And then I do a bit of tracking down here, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is, then Barb's going to talk. So right now I am at 1,107 of 1,500 kilometers for the year.
Oh, yes.
Right, except this is where we're going to get to goal setting fails. So this would be my mileage. I keep a running thing of my mileage. I write down here whether I was plus or minus 6 vegetables, right? Servings of vegetables. Okay. I write down how many glasses of wine or beer I had.
Right.
I was never really hitting a goal. So I write down a few of these sort of health-related personal wins or losses are going to go down here too. And I'm about to wrap this up. The running, I hurt my ankle. I am never going to achieve the 1,500 this year. That goal isn't going to happen. Bye, Diane. So that goal isn't going to happen. But I'm continuing to track it and still have 1,500 as the goal out there, because just because I hurt my ankle doesn't mean that that wasn't my original goal. So I'm not going to rework that goal necessarily. I'm just going to keep writing it down. And then at the end of the year, I'll remind myself that I didn't hit that goal, but it didn't turn out to be a tragedy. Okay, so I'm done. Tell me how you're tracking your goals, Barb.
Well, I don't think I'm tracking them. I might switch over to your system. I don't think that I'm tracking them as well. I have a single piece of paper.
Right.
That has a number of personal and professional goals on it.
Right.
I find that I need to big picture almost everything. If I lose sight of the big picture, then I am a Barb in the woods, just wandering around.
We could just call that a babe in the woods. And
you could call it a babe in the woods, but it's not anymore. It's a Barb in the woods.
Right, but we could launch into a labyrinth scene right now if everybody.
Oh, we could.
The babe.
Yeah, we could.
Let's not do that though. So you're a Barb in the woods.
Yeah, I find that mine these days have a lot to do with work-life balance. Very important when you have small kids, right? So I would say that I am more minimalist than you. I put down everything that I want to do and everything that I think I can commit. I do time blocking in my daily journal. Because otherwise you just don't get it done, right? Again, it's the daily component. I do a little bit of habit tracking, which I was like, oh, she doesn't track her habits. And I was like, oh, she tracks her habits. Yeah.
Habits,
so,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. I should start tracking water again, though.
Yeah, I track how much water I had in a day. So my goal is 4 liters of water a day. And so I write it down, I write down precisely how much water I've had in a day.
I will lie to myself if I'm allowed to do so. So I find that I like to go back.
Okay, then we're going to see this right here that you can't read.
The rigorous honesty.
You got to put that on your goal book because the only person you're accountable to is yourself.
Yeah, well, I remember tracking my water before I had some health goals that I was trying to achieve. And I was like, oh, I'll just draw little glasses. Okay, well, it turns out that I don't draw glasses very well. So I didn't draw the glasses. So I didn't bother to track the water, and my water consumption, unsurprisingly, went down.
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, I went, okay, you can't just sort of cerebralize your way out of this, Barb. You actually do need a method of writing things down.
Yep, for sure.
So,
It makes you accountable. So
absolutely.
You were saying
Sorry?
earlier you didn't necessarily have an accountability partner.
Yeah.
Your accountability partner is going to have to be you.
Oh,
I know, right?
awful. This is awful.
Now I'm coming away from Connect SJ with a couple of accountability partners, so I'm glad about that. But
And they didn't tell you that it had to be you. They took you on.
My accountability partner is generally me, and then my accountability partner, I have somebody who checks my work. He's grinning right now. Yeah. So I have somebody who checks my customer files because I'm a sole sort of operator, rogue in the woods with people. You're a babe in the woods. I'm rogue in the woods with people's bookkeeping. So I have somebody who checks them over for me and calls me out on stuff. We actually have a meeting tomorrow morning on it, and I'm not sure what he's going to say. So, accountability.
All good things, I promise.
Okay. So, finding an accountability partner for my accounting work was great because it is just me hanging out there with my face. But as to the goal, and then I have 2 new accountability. Well, we're an accountability group, and it is for the one thing. So for me, it's getting my resale templates on the website. And so Melanie Schroeder and Lisa Chanel Wanless are.
They're beautiful.
I know, right? So they are going to be, Melanie already is my accountability partner and yells at me already on the resale stuff.
Yeah. They're both so fresh though, right? Like you can't have somebody who's going to go blow smoke up your tush.
No.
You need somebody who's going to say, look.
Yeah. Well, actually, Melanie didn't say hi to me when she first saw me at Connect, and she'll see this recording. She didn't say hi or anything. She actually just yelled across the room, how are those resale templates going? And I'm like, yeah, hi, I love you too.
See? Fresh. Like that's fresh.
But we need to get back to the goal setting.
Okay. So how do you then determine what your goals should be? So if we talk about the actual setting.
Oh, Diane has something to add. Okay, good. We're all ears, Diane. Diane, you're muted.
I'm mute.
Diane, hold on. Don't say any more. Okay, go ahead.
There we go. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that you should prioritize your goals?
Yes.
I do.
I do.
So you don't write those goals down every day?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do?
Yeah, I have my 4 big goals that I write, the 4 goals of the moment, we'll call them. They'll change from the start to the beginning of the year. And so the renovation goal, which used to be top of mind because I didn't want the house to crash down on me in the middle of the night, is now my 4th goal. It's actually pushed down the list. It's still not accomplished to where I want it to be, but it's not my top priority goal. I write them in order of what they are.
So based on urgency, based on importance to you, what criteria do you use? Because I sometimes go off on a tangent and think that something's, important when it's really just urgent, which is what happens when you have small kids, right? Yeah, so I have to self-check.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and there's a big difference between urgent and important and all of that kind of stuff. That's a whole other discussion. But my goals get prioritized in kind of an order that they relate to each other almost. So I have a certain income goal that I've set for this year. You'd be very glad to hear that, Mike. I'm interested in working harder and making money. Because I have to pay for the renovations. So my number 1 goal is my income level. My number 2 goal, and I do realize these aren't necessarily goals, but it keeps me moving forward. And I have achieved a lot of goals over the last 5 years that I set. So don't judge me for goals as tasks or means to achieve a goal. So my top goal is the amount I need to make. sort of moving forward from now on, this is my income. And then my second goal is really how I'm going to get to that first goal in a way. And so I only do things I love now. So I do love my bookkeeping, but I don't want to build my bookkeeping practice. I love what it is right now. I don't want it to be anything different unless they're the perfect customer. What I'm loving more is consulting work with accounting professionals. I am loving helping people learn to love accounting as much as I love it. So that's actually my second goal, even though it's really a means to achieve the first goal, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it does.
And then my third goal is I dropped off volunteering at a therapeutic riding stable. And so I have that as my third goal. I need to make it more of it's a priority, which kind of makes it a goal. So then that's getting me back out to my horse farm with the kids. Well, really, the horses too. It's kind of self-centered. I get to hang out with the horses. So yeah, they are in priority, but the renovation was the top one last year. This year, it's the money to fund the renovation that's become the top goal. And then on the side are kind of the thing, especially the one side, the right-hand side, is all of those things that I'm going to need to achieve to build my consulting business to achieve that amount of money. So like I said, they're not smarter goals at all. They're kind of stupid goals, but I'm achieving them. Okay. Did that make sense? Anybody?
Yeah, we're nodding at you.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they have to be prioritized and worked on in the order in which you prioritize them. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you motivated to get there. I don't use a journal. I actually use my calendar, my Outlook calendar for that. I put a end goal in place because I'm always thinking about what the end is. And I put that on a certain date that I want to reach it. So if I used your example about making a certain amount of money, well, then that would, of course, be by the end of December. And then along the way, I would have check-in points that would pop up at me that would then force me to go and check that and see how that's doing and if it's on track or not.
Hold on, my dog's eating my carpet now.
I like that backward, not reverse engineering, but that backward milestoning. I find a year is, I don't know, like a year is a long time. So I remember setting a year goal.
Yeah, for that goal to make a certain amount of money this year, then that would apply to implement something that I'm moving towards. Then that would be a much shorter goal. Yep. But I do find that I will move those goals, even though I set them up. If I have 4 of them, when I set them up, I then prioritize the ones that I really don't want to go off into a tangent with, that they have to stay on those marks. And then the other ones, I will give myself a bit of leeway with, I didn't get that done this week. Well, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to move it to next week kind of thing.
So there's a whole,
and that's where the priorities work out better.
I was going to say, there's that whole sub framework of, is this mission critical, or can I give myself, and I think that's healthy, right? To give yourself a little bit of that flexibility. None of us are goal setting. Well, Kelly is a goal setting machine. None of the rest of us are goal setting machines, right? Our goals have to support us in whatever stage of being. I don't want to say stage of life, but stage of being we're at, right? Like there's times that you can. I remember I had a horrible year one year, and I thought, I just woke up one morning and I went, I can sprint. Like I can sprint these goals. If I do it now for 3 months, then I can take the summer off, because that's likely to just be. I have other things that are not goal oriented that I had to deal with, right? So like timelines in my personal life. And I remember thinking that was like, coming upon that concept, it was very useful to consider that nothing is ever 100% professional or 100% personal, right? Like it's everything. Effective goals are that effective manipulation of different elements in our life that allow us to achieve them, right?
Yeah, Sure.
And not at the expense of other things, really.
Yeah, well, that goes back to the whole my personal goal and my two, my couple of the I got to make this much money, so that's my goal professionally because I want to pay for my renovation.
You're funding something personally.
I'm funding something personally now. As I mean, that's everybody, but it's even more so if you're a business person. If you own your own business, your personal goals are so tied to your professional goals. They are inextricably tied. And if you don't think that they are, then you need to reevaluate that completely. But I would be hard pressed to believe that there's a person who owns their own business out there that doesn't tie their personal goals somehow with their professional goals. Now, I'm not saying that my need to lose the last 10 pounds are related to my need to, earn whatever the amount of money that I want to earn is, but they are, again, it's related to the renovation goals. So,
I think they correlate. I think they correlate. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Shauna?
I do something similar to what Diane does. I use my Google Calendar. And it's not just one calendar. Like I can't just have everything in one place. I use paper and I set up goals. Without that, I don't have a roadmap, right? So I don't know where I'm going. And then I have to break them down into so many detailed, small steps that are actually doable. Because one big thing is just, I can't do it. I have to break them down. So then I have to put them in a timeline for those little ones to get achieved. So I use 3-4 different calendars for business and for personal.
Right.
And I use paper and I reprioritize constantly. I look at them almost every day, not almost, I look at them every day. And then I might, for a small one, I reprioritize every day because something comes up that takes priority, but I don't take it off the list.
Right.
So as you mentioned, Kelly, earlier, that's a goal for you to run this much, but now you have some problems. So, but doesn't mean that you don't want to, see how far you can go. So I still keep it. And then if I can achieve it within the given time that I'm actually given it, then I move it a bit further. But then I know when I'm, look at it, it's so visual. So I know that I had to push it. So I have to work harder or, whatever I need to do.
Sure.
But it's not just one system that I can use. It's so hard to do it. For business, I'm using arrows, 17 hats, name it. And for personal, and then all come into my Google Calendar and so on.
Yep.
So,
I have a question. I have a quick question.
Strong believer of writing. Sorry, Kelly. I'm a strong believer of writing it down, and I learned it quite a few years ago. That when I write it down, it's I'm sending it to the universe, or I'm seeing it, or whatever it is.
Right.
I believe in all that, and it happens. It's like a magic. It's amazing how when you write it down, you focus. All your energy gets focused and tunneled into that.
For sure. I couldn't agree more, but that was actually going to be my question. You said that you're putting it into your Google Calendar. Are you also taking pen to paper? Do you write it down as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure.
Pen and paper have a different feeling.
Yeah.
I have to actually, yeah. And you know what? I'm cheap.
There you go, Diane.
I'm cheap. I go to Dollarama. I don't go to Indigo or any of those places. I go to Dollarama, buy a notebook, and I'm just writing things. And pen and paper, it's like a freestyle. I can write anywhere on that piece of paper, anything I want. I can draw arrows, which I do a lot of visual things. An arrow to this, arrow to that, and I can't do it with computer. But when I have that written on the paper, then I can go and put it on my calendar, and then follow it, and then move it.
Do you guys know about these things? Rocket books?
No.
So this is a pretty cool thing, actually. You might want to Google them and see them, but I use this all the time. And the cool thing is, it's just like pen and paper. You can just write your notes, right?
Oh, okay.
But you then, at the bottom of it, and you guys won't be able to see it, but at the bottom of each page, there is an icon. And you, with the mobile app, assign each icon to what it is that where you want it to go in your computer, and it automatically uploads it and puts it into your computer for you.
Oh, neat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Whereas they're really cool is at conference.
Oh,
Because
wow.
you can write your notes in the sessions at conference and then store them in OneDrive, Evernote, whatever you want to use. You can even send them to your own email, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
Diane,
they're
is
pretty
that the
cheap.
one?
They're like $40. And what happens is once you've actually put it in the computer, you then just take a wet cloth and you rub it out and you just reuse the pages time and time again.
Is that the one that was on Shark Tank?
It could be. I don't know that, but it might have been.
So
They're
I know
really
that
cool.
they used to microwave it with a bowl of water on top of it.
So this is the new version. No more
Okay.
microwaving.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you just wipe it now. Okay.
Yeah, just wipe it down. Yeah.
Okay,
And then you've got clear paper.
so that's called Rocket Books, because I know about
Rocket book.
Okay, I
Rocket
know.
book. Yeah.
I know about the moleskin one.
Yeah.
now
I
I'm gonna
think
have
that's an earlier generation, Kelly.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look up Rocket Book to see if that integrates with Google. Oh wait, we got some chats. Kelly's not paying attention.
I love that
Gotcha.
that
Jessica.
technology. So my background is in education, and it was neat to see that technology sort of hit the incubator. Often technology like that could be considered adaptive or assistive is first demoed in the education environment, right? For a variety of reasons. So I remember seeing Rocket Book about 7 years ago and thinking, like, the kid, it was just like, it wasn't Rocket Book. It was like a prototype, like a minimum viable. And thinking, wow, could that ever revolutionize business?
I have another one that you get too that's really small. It looks like a sticky note. So therefore, I don't have to use sticky notes anymore. I just use it to quickly write down a phone number, or somebody's on the phone, or something I have to remember to do, and then I just erase it at the end of the day once I've got those done, and there's no sticky notes everywhere.
I love this, Diane. So I thank you for that, because I thought there was just moleskin, and now I'm all gigged out because I love the pen to paper. But if you can just take it and put it somewhere else. Now I would like to say I do some of this with my customers. So at the beginning of their fiscal year, when we're renewing their engagements, they get a new sort of a journal book from me, and I try to pick something that I think that they're going to like. And then they get to freewheel and do whatever they want, but they always get the goal booking, the setting some goals, even though I'm the world's worst smart goal setter. And I want to come back to some super smart goal setters in our world, in the accounting profession shortly. So I am the lousiest smart goal setters, but I believe in them more than anything. And so I lecture I gently prod my customers in the right direction of goal setting. And then we review their journals, and their journals are never about goals. They've gotten off onto all kinds of crazy things, or there's nothing in it. This year, when I was renewing an engagement, the taxes are coming this week, Mike. When I was renewing an engagement at their year end, she took her goal book that I gave her last year next level, because she didn't do it ever. She took it next level and got stickers and stamps and word pictures, and she showed me that goal book, and I was like, this is the greatest. And Nadine, that's you and I wrote, and I said, I was telling Nadine this when we were down in San Jose. We were in like a bookstore thing that had all the stamps and stickers, and I'm like, I gotta get these, because I can't be outdone on my goal book by my own customer. It was pretty funny. She took it, but I want to talk super quick. There are a couple. So Juliet Aurora is a smarter goal, and so there's a few of them. that whole QBO and Quinty group, Tamitha,
Yeah.
they use something called My Best Self. So I'm gonna type that one in here too. It's My Best Self system. So I got on that bandwagon, but it was my Too Good a Self system for me. It took me right back to overwhelming me rather than just getting on with it. But the My Best Self system is a really cool, and that whole group over there is rocking it. And I think we can all pretty
What
safely.
does it mean, Kelly? Like, what is it?
Oh, that's the name of the book. It's called the My Best. See, I did get it. You can see how well I did.
Oh, okay, okay.
I did some stuff in the beginning. I did do some stuff in the beginning.
Okay.
You can see that it was too rigorous a system for me. But I think we can all agree that Tamitha and Tanya and that whole group and Juliet Aurora are all rocking their businesses. And
Are you following a certain system with that book?
Yeah, it follows a very regimented system. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not for somebody in the sunset years.
Not for somebody in the sunset years, right, Diane? I love us sunsetters.
And maybe not for somebody starting out.
No.
Because I remember starting out, and the one rule that I have kept through the years is that I don't have 0 days. And there's nothing that you can write that allows you to not have 0 days, except you get up and you have to do the things, even if it's 11:59.
What's a 0 day?
A 0 day is a day that you take no action toward your goals.
Oh.
So I don't roll like that. If you roll like that, that's cool. But I mean, you're at a different place in your life, right?
Right.
But
I like those kind of days.
and that's fine for you. That's fine for you.
Like a free day.
But for me,
0 day. Okay.
but for me, I don't have a day where nothing happens toward my goals. So no matter how small, how incremental, and I think if we really look at this, like we all take incremental steps toward our goals every day.
Sure.
So it's counting that, right, as a gain towards your day. But what I used to have were days where nothing went on toward my goals as I was just getting started with my goals, because you know how it is. They start, they stop. They start, they stop,
Yeah.
right? Until I had to tell myself, listen, it doesn't matter if it's 11:59 at night. You have to do a push-up, eat a vegetable. So there I was at 11:59 at night, right? Writing an email, eating a vegetable, and doing a push-up simultaneously, hugging my kids, because sometimes that was the first time. But I think that would be probably the one rule that I have really sort of incorporated across the board, is that every day there's a gain somewhere toward my goals. And I don't know if a book, I mean, you can stop writing in a book, right? I don't know. See, I've stopped writing in so many books. So now I have a page and no 0 days. I don't know. What do you think?
I like revisiting it the next day. And I guess I have zero days because I am so accountable to myself, because I'm going back the next day and revisiting the wins and woes of moving forward in my...
I like wins and woes.
Yeah, I like wins and woes. So right now I'm using happy faces and smiley faces. I have yet to go get the stickers like my customer does, and stars. She gives herself a gold star in her book when she's done some of the stuff, right?
My inner child would like a gold star. My inner child would really like that. I find that my most successful is when I award myself something that my inner child really likes.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely
Smells
going
good.
to. I've given all of my customers, has anybody seen those T-sheets, Be Bold, Be Brilliant, Be Badass? I was just reading it off my computer. And I gave those to my customers so that went in there as well. Yeah, so my goal book is soon going to consist of some gold stars and some stickers. I'm going to buy some little running shoes too. Anyways, boy, did I get off topic here. Okay, so it's over, Nadine?
Nope.
Oh,
This is my little happy face stamp.
Oh, I love it.
yeah, you know what?
This
Yeah.
used to be my posting stamp when I had paper.
Right?
Da, 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 da. So you could use this in your goal book without stickers. Just buy a little stamp. Oh, you've got one! Yay! There you go.
It used to be my posting sticker too, so I guess I'll take that
Awesome.
right out of the she shed into the house where I write in my goal book.
There you go. No stickers required.
No, I'm still going to need a gold star sticker. My
Oh
goal
yeah,
book,
that's important.
just to talk about when I do it, I'm a morning person, so I visit my goal book every morning to start my day off right. What I do in the evenings when I'm finishing off my work day is I write down my to-dos for the next day. So my to-dos are my evening work. That's ending my day. My goal book is starting my day. When do you do yours, Barb?
I revisit my goals daily. I also affirm daily.
In the morning or in the evening?
No, I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes a very early in the morning person.
Right.
How
I saw what time you emailed me this morning. Yeah.
I'd been up for a while. I waited in case it like dinged you. My to-dos evolve throughout the course of the day. What I find that I do when I'm ready to end my work day is I start crossing off to-dos. I could be a perfectionist, and that holds me back from effective goals. So I have to be really quite firm with myself in a way that maybe seems counterintuitive, that I have to get rid of some of those little to-dos that I might have just offloaded from my brain onto the paper because they're too minor, right? And then the next day comes along and you get inundated with stuff from that day, and it turns out that you haven't done your to-dos, and then you're losing traction. Right. So I find it's partially expectation management as well.
Sure. I wrote a blog that's not live yet, and it's all about good enough, which is another whole discussion to have, right? Good enough isn't good enough necessarily in bookkeeping, unless it's penny rounding, you know. But other than that, good enough is a very, very important concept.
I agree.
If you're going to achieve your goals,
I agree.
Sometimes you have to go with good enough.
Yep.
Even CRA is $2 one way or the other, Kelly.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, the penny rounding. Actually, I just had a payroll audit in the she shed. It was a 2-year full payroll audit. The auditor got a little off track in loving the she shed, but you know how they do the X's and they're putting in the data, and he says, oh, we've got an X. Ooh. Nope, that's rounding error. That's rounding error. And then he'd say to me, it's only a penny rounding. And he'd be all excited. He wanted that. He wanted the audit to go well. And he was fantastic. Mike and I have already talked about this. It's a mutual customer. But even he was like, even in bookkeeping, there's good enough, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's a whole other topic for accounting professionals to discuss, the whole concept of good enough. But in the to-do list check off items thing, show of hands or however you want to do it. And, day designer. Okay. Oh, Nadine. Okay. Lisa uses day designer. So that's in the chat. Anybody here occasionally put something on their to-do list that they've already done just so they can check it off?
I love that.
Right.
It feels so good.
Right. So
Cheating.
that's not cheating. That's feeling accomplished.
I feel like it's like when the bobsled runners start 10 feet back. You're already starting. You hit the starting line. You're like ready to go, right?
Yes. So
you
I
just did it ahead of time because you didn't have time to write it down.
Well, I crossed it off the day before because it was too minor, and then I put it back on.
I have one more thing that I wanted to talk about. So we've got the whole goal booking thing, and I'm going to come back to Lisa Chanel Wanless. And I want to say Chanel because I'm from the East, but anyways, I'll go with Chanel. And she uses a vision board. I mean, she took her vision board next level. It's beautiful. But is anybody here also I was going to say, is anybody using a vision board? I don't, because of the travel that I do. The vision board would take up more room than my computers, office-wise or whatever.
I love it.
Yeah, Lisa is kicking. Anybody else use a vision board?
My old coach used a vision board, and it was insane, the stuff that he accomplished. He used to just take 5 minutes out and just center himself and stare. Like, you could tell he was totally living that board.
Yeah.
Highly, highly visual, he said, was the key to that.
Yeah, well, they are cool. And then one of my customers who is not the least bit interested in goal setting at all, I worked with her, and it was almost a mini vision board. And that is, I gave her one of those wine glass writers, to write her number one thing that would change her world on her mirror in her bathroom. So that's back to my just do one thing. So she wrote that it didn't have to be like a personal goal. She didn't tell me what it was, but the number one thing that would make her life better is written on her bathroom mirror in a gold pen. So if you're not a big goal setter, just taking that one step, or if because a few of us in here seem to be goal setters, if your customers aren't, if your customers are setting goals and they're a customer you're going to probably get to keep that customer longer. You're not going to be replacing one. So it's like a trickle down benefit of passing along goal setting. And if they're not going to be great at goal setting, just writing down that one thing somewhere that they can see it, whether it's on their fridge or their bathroom mirror, is a great gateway into goal setting. And I believe we are out of time.
Kellie, can I just say something?
No.
Okay. Mute myself again.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if anyone else has noticed or been staring at this, but I've been, since we started this call, I've been staring over your right shoulder. And it's so appropriate for today.
Right? Yeah, and I'm not going to make any apologies. I do take it down when I am doing Intuit webinars, the Get Shit Done one comes down. But if it's like going to go in my group, hey, I can swear, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I'd make it bigger.
My cousin made that for me, and I thought that was just terrific. Now, somebody at Quebec Connect last week had a business card with Get Shit Done written on it. I'm not sure I'd go that far. I'm not that brave, but I loved it. I thought that was super cool. And thank you for pointing that out, Michael. That actually is important to me, the get shit done. And I'll tell you what else is going on. So this is a clock. I guess you can see that it's a clock. You may not have noticed that the time on it didn't change. It is set to 10 after 5. Not that you need to remind me that my workday needs to end at a reasonable hour. I think we all know in the work-life harmony, I've got the life part all worked out. It's the work thing I got to get back to. But it's set to 10 after 5, just as a reminder that the workday needs to end at a decent time. So there you go, just since you brought up the other thing. And Tippett would like you all to say hello. Anybody got some last thoughts that they want to share? Yeah, okay. All ears.
Just going back to that, my best self.
Yeah.
I have tried different ones, very similar, but I find that very restricting. So yeah. I'd like to be more free than just following those.
I think I'm the same.
Yeah, I found it's a super rigid system, and you know what? I'm just going to make a big note. My best self. What were the other ones?
Day designer.
Day designer. Oh, okay, Jessica, you didn't chime in. I see. So you also use a vision board, and day designer, rocket. What was the one, Diane?
Rocket book.
Rocket book, because I'm going to put those in the. I was going to call them show notes, but you know what I mean. Rocket book. I'm going to put those in as links when I post this in Facebook.
Yeah.
Any other big thoughts? Little thoughts? Any thoughts? No. Okay.
5 years ago, I used the Franklin.
Yeah. That's another one, and I think
I would like it noted that the better I eat and sleep, then conditions are right. So I'm a conditions are right person, right? Like I've got a lot going on over here in my personal life. So conditions are right. Sometimes I can't engineer them. My children engineer themselves, right?
Right.
Like, they just kind of are a force of nature. But you got to think when you start hearing like conditions are right for hurricane or some other calamity, right? Like what does that mean to have that sort of general atmosphere of blank ready to go? And so that's what I meant at the top of the conversation, Kellie, when I was talking about some of those like macro items that can greatly influence whether we're successful or not in our goals. And for me, a couple of them are, like I said, eating properly and sleeping as much as I'm able to, even if it seems like it's biting into my workday. So I would just like that noted as well.
Actually,
If your conditions are right, person.
yeah, absolutely. I think I'm massive on routine. So even
Love a
Look
good
after yourself
routine.
before you can look after anybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Nadine can attest to the fact that it doesn't matter what time I roll in at night. Like an elephant, I will still likely get up at 6 o'clock and head out for my run in the morning. And Nadine and I talk a lot about routine being
Take a nap when you need it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the routine thing is important with the goal setting as well. I think goal setting and routine is so tied together. And so that's why I write in my routine stuff, like how much I drank, how long my run was, all of that kind of stuff, how much wine I drank goes into that, because that is, that's also important. So at any rate, we're past the 1 hour mark, and I totally, we both just used the word totally, Barb. I would like to thank you for coming, and guys, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for your input, everybody, on your funness with goal setting. Yeah, it's fun. And yeah, and so thanks again. Everybody, mute yourself and say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.